Hey, Chris, you made the agenda. You copied that template. I think that means you're leading it.
That's fine. I did it last week. I can do it this week. So, welcome one and all. We'll take a quick look at action items from last week. Just a notice here per Ruben on the scripts that run that when we do future RFC merges, make sure we do the PR as a merge commit instead of a rebase. So that way the script works. No other action items from last week to review. So going on to this week, we have a new doc work group. Suggestion here, I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah. Do you mind sharing your screen? I mean, there's nothing on it. We just talked about sharing our screen for these meetings.
Okay, sure. Give me one moment.
The reasoning behind that was that it's easier to, or nicer to watch back the recording if you can see the screen.
Yep, no problem. I just gotta minimize a few things here. Desktop 2. Okay, is this showing up for everybody?
Looks good.
All right, so we have a new docs work group number 677.
Yeah. So when we started this formation of the CFF and how we're organizing now, we wanted to have a docs group, but there was no one to lead it. And so we split the docs into 3 different areas. Foundational infrastructure, which Ruben leads, ARP runtime platform, which I lead, and then Greg's group runtime interfaces. And it has been very annoying for Anita here, one of our docs leads at VMware, to deal with 3 different working groups. Feel free to add anything you want, Anita, but yeah, this is about making a new working group, so not having it split across 3, but having it in just one new docs working group.
Yeah, one of the big problems that we've found, and Amelia's borne the brunt of it, is that every time we want to add new docs members, we need all these approvals. And I don't have permissions to do anything to add these people. So, and this might be a better way for me to have control of the docs and you guys not having to deal with it anymore.
Hopefully this is uncontroversial. One thing I would love, so I couldn't find anything in the bylaws about adding working groups, so I just made it a PR that the TOC is gonna approve. I would love to hear any places where you're like, oh, here's something you forgot that needs to change. Or there's some things we weren't sure how to set up, like, eventually if this is approved, like adding the calendar and the, like all the links and stuff like that. So there's some logistics help that we'll need.
Just thinking out loud here, but does it make sense to create area to split it out in areas so that we keep the ability to have people from the other working groups still be approvers for certain docs changes? I don't know if that makes sense, but like these people tend to be domain experts. Maybe not all of them want to be involved, but having the ability to have certain people from different areas be involved and not have access to all the docs might be useful.
I could see that in the future. Currently, there was no one else besides docs writers. Like the 3 groups across the 3 working groups were exactly the same set of approvers.
I see. That makes sense. Yeah, I mainly think asking also because of Bosch.io, but maybe that's out of scope. So Bosch.io has a lot of docs on it, and those are being maintained by the Bosch area in the foundational infrastructure working group.
Yeah, that's
I don't know.
Yeah, would it make sense to have the leaders of the other 2 or the other 3 working groups as approvers on here?
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
Would that do it, or do you need the whole Bosch group, or what do you need do you figure?
I think currently the Bosch.io docs are not in this list.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing them.
Yeah, I think maybe that's something that could be added as there's like an anti-goal section or an anti-something section if you go to the files changed.
Mhm.
If you scroll down
I see the
further.
Cloud Controller v3. Okay, yeah, I mean,
Oh, yeah, maybe it was there and I missed it. Yeah, and so I'd imagine there's some docs that are like more, not these general docs
Yeah.
that kind of stay closer to the engineers. Non-goals. There, there we go.
Yeah.
but that's a bit of it's a slippery slope, right? Like, why is the CLI here, right? Like, that should be good. You could also argue that it should be close to the engineers. I think it's more about like wanting a more wanting to enforce like a common style, right? I think across the docs, I think that's like why you want to centralize docs ownership, but then you still have the engineers who are the domain experts who want to have a say, but shouldn't, like, you basically want two people. You want someone from docs to be involved, and you want sometimes, not always, but sometimes you want someone who is like a domain expert on that change to be there as well. And that would work with a two-person review model. But to assign these people, you need them to be in the area. Like, it's also easier to find these people if you can just add them, and because they are in the area, listed as approvers in the area.
Yeah, I think
Go ahead.
the problem we're running into is that we have people editing from all over the place, and we don't always see it, so we can't edit so we find grammar errors and formatting errors, and we get bugzilla bugs on link errors that we need to fix. All those kinds of things happen, and often we don't even know that the changes are there. So I'd certainly like to be able to see them as they come in. I mean, our general way of working is that even in all of the other, like all of the pivotal repos, we just merge stuff, all the PRs, and then we go back and edit it if we need to. But if we don't even see a PR, then we don't know that something is there. So that's kind of our concern, is we don't even know how much work there is or what's happening in them. I'm certainly happy to have extra approvers in here, the team leads from the other places, but I'd like to see most of the documentation changes to come in through PR if possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way that we set it up right now is to represent exactly how it was before, but just in one working group.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense.
Yep. Ready. So is this something then that we're going to vote on today for approval?
I feel like we can, well, at least like Ruben and I are the ones affected. Our groups are two of the groups affected. So
Yep.
I feel like we have the most important members here.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, I think it will be a nice welcome back surprise for Greg. Like, less repos to care about. So.
Can you go back to files changed?
Yep.
And there's one section, it's like the part where there's like a markdown table. If you scroll down just a tad right there.
Yep.
I feel like we can approve this, but some of these things will need to be filled out. So I know that, so Chris and Ram that are on this call, Anita, work with the Linux Foundation. I think they set up all of this for my team. So maybe you can work to set it up for your team with them afterwards.
Okay. That'd be great.
Yeah. Will there also be a community call? It says TBD. But will there be like a weekly call for docs, I think that would be great, but I don't know if people are actually, I don't know who would attend that.
Well, I'll be happy to conduct it, but I suspect that if it's weekly, we won't have anybody most of the time.
We could do it monthly.
We could
Yeah.
do monthly or
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll connect with you. After this call, we can discuss that and we can get a call set up. And I'll also, put a link to this on the CloudFoundry website where we link the
Perfect.
groups, things like that.
Excellent. Thank you.
Back to the main conversation. It's got mine and Ruben's approval. Just need.
Hold on, I need to find my place to do it.
Are there more
Okay.
places on here, Amelia, where I did not change the the approver list? Because I changed it in one place.
Yours was down.
Because there are 3 people on the original list that no longer work here. And I want to make sure they're gone.
Here it is. Roles and assets, documentation, leads.
Yeah. So it was only in the one file I had changed for
Yep.
that.
That's the beauty
Okay.
of you having your own working group now.
Yep.
One file, not 3.
Whew.
Would be.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Well, if there's no issues, then we'll go ahead and we'll do this as merged.
I will say, Ruben, I think you wrote a lot of the automation. I did have one little hiccup because I took out bots because they don't use bots. They don't require that. But besides that, it seemed to just work, which was pretty impressive.
I didn't do any of that. That was all Stefan.
Okay. Well, maybe
I
he'll
came
watch
up with
this
some
and
of the ideas and then made something crappy, and then he made it all work and proper. So the fact that it works is Stefan's doing.
Okay. Other item is to review RFC on talk stand-ins. It's in the chat as well.
Yeah, if you want to click on the link for easy viewing. Yeah, very exciting. Greg's out for 2 weeks of vacation and we can't get something merged. I guess it doesn't matter now. Now we'll have our own working group so Anita can get it merged. But it just seemed like a little bit of a flaw that when working group leads are absent, stuff can grind to a halt. And so my suggestion was an RFC that's basically like the TOC can vote just like we normally do. 3 votes means that we can basically approve anything in a working group's absence.
I kind of makes sense maybe, but like in the past, like TSC members should be admins anyway, right? So what I've have seen work is just like working group leads asking one of the TSC members to be a substitute for them, just arrange it that way. I don't know if we need like a formal voting process around it.
I mean, when I was a working group lead, I also had access and could merge things and then got in trouble for merging things. Even though I could technically click the button.
True. Yeah.
So I mean, if a working group lead says someone can stay in their stead, great. But let's say they forget or whatever reason, I think it makes sense just to say, yes, the TOC has this power, so I can not feel guilty clicking that merge button.
That makes sense to me.
And now we can change all of Greg's working group.
That's awesome.
I forget what you do with RFCs. It's like you start the open comment period, or we leave an open comment period for a week. It's going to take like a silly long time to approve this.
Yeah, we at least need to start that final call for comments period thing.
Yeah. Okay.
But are there any comments?
No,
Like,
but I did open it yesterday.
Yeah, so it's a bit fast for final call, I guess. Like,
So do we want to say final comments, but put instead of the 1 week, put it 2 weeks out?
yeah,
I like that.
maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Because it is a non-controversial thing, but also
Yep.
it's like really recently
Yeah.
submitted.
All right, so
Just be enough time for everybody to get back from vacation.
And that will be the 12th of September.
Okay.
that's that one.
Has the TOC been tagged on it?
Yep, I will add that right now. Yeah,
Thank you. I'm bad at adding labels.
Yeah, we maybe also want to assign reviewers, like the TOC group, so that everybody you can just search for TOC.
I'll just search for TC. Got it.
There should be an yes.
Yep.
That's all the automation generating that stuff.
Apparently not. I'm not in there. Oh, I made it. Never mind. I don't get to approve it.
Automation is flawless.
Never blame the robot. All righty, that's it for the PR section. Any other business? Yeah, open to discuss. Floor is open.
We have no updates from Canonical on the VIP stuff. They had to reschedule. But next time they're gonna give us something, apparently. We'll see. But they did reach out to reschedule, so it's not that they totally forgot.
Yeah, I've seen that as well. I've got nothing else. Anything from Chris or Ron from the foundation?
Nope, nothing really.
Unless there are any other objections, we can call this closed, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
See you at
Bye.
the next one.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, everyone.